Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Ranking of Kings was recommended to me by my niece. She's 9. Some people are just born with good taste. I'd heard this anime was good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Though the ending has me feeling, dissatisfied. Ranking of King reminds me of Made in Abyss, in that it kinda looks bright and fun and has a cute lead with a round face and big eyes, but is actually quite brutal and unforgiving. The medieval setting reminded me of Berserk as well. I'm not saying this anime is like Berserk, but the ritual Miranjo carries out to bring back Boss felt like it could fit very well into Berserk. When Boss died and a demon emerged from his mouth, I was like, wait, what kind of anime is this? King of Ranking revolves around the bonds of duty, love, friendship, and family, regardless of direct blood relations, the meaning and importance they have, and the significance of choosing to break, betray, or honor them. Bojji stands as the gold standard, loving everyone and everything equally. He's a kind young man whose abilities are ignored because of his disabilities, small stature, and sweet nature. Everyone around him thinks he's not capable of much. Even when they're given reason to suspect otherwise, they're like, oh no, I must be wrong. Except for his father and his new friend Kage. We don't see many interactions between Bojji and his father, but what we do see is affectionate, and Boss does leave the throne to Bojji. I do wonder if he truly believes in Bojji's ability, or if he feels guilty for stealing his son's strength and senses. It's notable that Boss did not try to become the #1 ranked king, despite being strong enough to do it. Right at the end of the series, we see that once he stole Bojji's strength and defeated that weird guy, he found no joy.
What is this emptiness? The fire within me, where has it gone?
And he seemingly doesn't pursue the highest rank he'd be capable of. Characters wonder why he never tried for #1. So he stole Bojji's abilities and then didn't pursue his all-important goal of becoming the strongest, of defeating all the strongest. Is it worth it to hurt your loved ones to achieve your goals? I would say that for most of this anime, the answer is no. Boss stole from his son and lost his passion. Domas betrays Bojji, loses an arm and his honor. Daida betrays Bojji and gets his body stolen. But right at the end, there's seemingly no more consequences for actions. Where are Miranjo's consequences? Bojji, more than anyone, should not be so happy to know her be, no matter how wonderful and kind he is. Bojji is everyone's sacrificial lamb. Daida orders his murder to ensure the crown remains his. Daida is ruthless, stubborn, and arrogant at the beginning of the story. And power-hungry. Of course, he's got Miranjo in his ear pushing him in that direction, which makes it strange that he would then want to marry her. Doesn't matter how tragic her backstory, you had your brother pushed into a fiery pit because she told you it was a good idea. But then, Daida does owe his existence to her because if she hadn't murdered the previous queen, he would never have been born. And the way that Sheena died broke my heart. Her blood building around tiny Bojji. He's caught in a lake of his mother's blood, and he looks just like her. Both boys take after their mother. Daida gains empathy for his brother once he loses his body to his father and finds himself in darkness. He seems to be the kind of person who can't empathize until he experiences the same thing himself. Without Miranjo's influence, and after she betrays him, he's able to really think about his actions. He must have been good once. Bojji has fond memories of him, and Pippin is loyal to him, so I assume he was a good guy before the mirror's influence. Also, isn't Pippin very Antonio Banderas coded? I kept thinking of Desperados. I appreciated the choice to give the three-headed snake a really calm and soothing voice. because it does have a kind of horrific outward appearance. It's missing a head, and despite having 2 remaining heads, has only 1 eye. But that does go to show you, sometimes we look at a person or a creature that has a lot of scars and we think of how horrific they must be. But those scars are actually evidence of someone else's brutality, not their own. But that's just a thought, not to do with this anime in particular. Though we do see first impressions being kind of deceiving. Right at the beginning, in episode 1, Helen comes off as kind of an evil stepmother type. But she actually really loves Bojji. She just doesn't think he's capable of much. And she's trying to shield him and protect him by limiting him. And Domas seems like he's the good guy, that he's actually rooting for Bojji, but then he's the one to try to kill him. When that happened, when he pushed Bojji into the hole, I actually gasped. I was so shocked that that happened. I found Boss very hard to read for most of the series. He doesn't seem that upset that he was resurrected into his son's body, but he does try to ensure his wife and other child don't die, but he won't directly help them. And Miranjo is destroying his family and his kingdom, but he won't attempt to stop her. Not even to say, Miranjo, I don't think all this was a very good idea. Maybe we don't need 6 of the most powerful criminals in existence roaming the lands of my kingdom. And yes, I know he promised to stay by her side, and she's lost so much and been tortured and twisted, but his enabling is not helping her get to a healthier state of mind. Like at the very end, when her emotions or whatever are woken up again, and he says to her, "Oh, your true self has been awoken now. And yeah, it just took the murder of your wife, the attempted murder of your second wife, the attempted murder of your oldest child, and stealing the body of your second child in order to resurrect your spirit into him." I really wanted Miranjo to experience some consequences for her actions, even after learning of her backstory. Maybe she loses her magic, or she gets cursed, or gets a little bit of jail time. Nothing. She emerges from all of this destruction just fine, just a little bit guilty. And losing Boss doesn't count because bringing him back from the dead was one of the things she did wrong. I'm sorry is not enough, especially when she changed her mind so quickly. She did horrible things. People are dead. Oaken got squished into a ball and stuffed into a boulder because his mind wasn't broken enough. Now, I don't want you to think I didn't enjoy this anime, because I really did, but I did not like this ending. I also don't like that Kage leaves without even a goodbye, and that Bojji surrenders his throne. I'd prefer Kage to be incorporated into Bojji's life. If Bojji succeeds in starting his own kingdom, will Kage just leave again? Speaking of Kage, I thought he was well constructed as a character. The elimination of his people, loss of his mother, leaving him alone and desperate for connection. So desperate that even the worst treatment is better than no treatment at all. When that horrible man who abused him dies and he grieves his death, my heart broke. It makes sense that he'd become a really callous individual and that he'd be captivated by someone like Bojji, who is so earnest and caring. Their friendship is really lovely. It's the cornerstone of the series, I'd say. I like the idea that you really rise to the occasion when someone truly believes in you and shows you how much they believe in you. That Kage, who is a shadow, shines onto Bojji, making him stronger. I wanted him to see his own value. Without him, Bojji would have died in that fire pit and the kingdom would have been doomed. He deserves a place at King Bojji's side. He earned it more than everyone else and their ambiguous flip-flopping loyalties. He also uses Kakashi-sensei's 1,000 years of death technique, and I liked that. I also like that Bojji remains as he is. He never regains what his father took from him, and he is still one of the most powerful characters in the anime. Instead of becoming like everyone else, he develops a style of fighting that is unique to him. I like the message of that. I enjoy Desha and Despa, the king a little more than his brother. The more of him that we saw, the more I liked him. I love and hate tragic stories like Oaken, a good man driven mad by something beyond his control. I wish we could have seen what was in the treasure for the first king, and if they find something to help him. The brothers are Desha, Despa and Oaken. He was jinxed when they gave up the naming tradition. The biggest question remaining in this anime is, how does someone boss's size make a baby with someone Hilling's size? Seems awfully incompatible to me. Maybe that's why they needed a woman with healing ability. I appreciated the way her powers worked, that they obviously required effort and weren't endless. The fights at the end were good. The big four were impressive and lived up to their name. I didn't like that Oaken became a big bad, like such a big bad. They fight him over several episodes. He has no stakes in the story. He's insane. He's fighting because he likes to watch people die. What I really wanted was for there to be some kind of confrontation between Bojji and Miranjo. There is, of course, Bojji versus Boss, but I don't think of Boss as the big bad of this anime. I think of Miranjo as the big bad of this anime. And Bojji is very badass in this fight, as well as when he fought Oaken, even though Oaken can't die. He really kicked his dad's butt. She should not get to be forgiven unless he makes peace with her actions, and we need to see him struggle with it, like he did with Thomas. And Boss should hate her too. I mean, he should love her and hate her. He apologizes for her for not bringing the kind of joy his family brought to him, and I get it, but she also took that joy away from him. I wish Boss would have mourned what he was doing to Bojji by fighting him, that he put his son in the position of battling his father to save his brother and the kingdom. Like in Castlevania, if you watched it, Dracula has this moment of clarity while fighting his son, and he's like, I can't believe I'm killing my boy. I wanted Boss to really feel what has happened to his family, what he's doing to his family, what has been done to his family. And I didn't quite get that. Because surely he loves Bojji and Daida as much as he loves Miranjo. I can imagine Miranjo being his favorite, like how parents can sometimes have a favorite child, but that doesn't mean you don't love the others and you'd be happy for them to die. If Bojji failed to defeat him, would he have kept Daida's body and lived on for Miranjo's sake?
Those who renew their allegiance shall be allowed to continue in my service. And those who refuse shall die here!
The answer to my question is yes. Seems like he would have. So what I want to say is Miranjo's redemption is unearned. And it doesn't really make sense to me that Daida would want to marry her. I would understand if he wants to protect her, if he understands where she's coming from, if he feels sympathy for her. But wanting to marry her, that's something else entirely. And what we did see of him in the mirror wasn't exactly a loving relationship or dynamic. That really felt like it came from nowhere. And so, this is the end of the video. It's not very ordered, but I hope you liked it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day, have a great week. See you in the next one. I'm Kayla. Bye.